I have what amounts to a very eclectic selection of old G.I. Joes. No weapons, a lot of them have been rebuilt. I can show those in another video if people would like. I recently picked this one up for pretty cheap. No weapons again, but she's in pretty good shape. There's a spur on the back of her boot that's very small, that's busted off. But you know what? She looks pretty good. Now, the description said tight joints, and they are. And it said good rubber band, and it is, but I noticed that her body isn't closing very well, and I've tried cranking down a little bit on the screw in the back to see if I can fix that. Doesn't seem to help, so I've got my trusty kit that I bought a few years ago to help sort out G.I. Joe issues. And we get the little screwdriver here. We'll see what's going on in here. I think it's an O-ring problem, simply for the fact that the body won't close all the way. So I take the screw out with a tiny little provided screwdriver that comes with the kit. It actually comes with two of these little things. If you're into fixing G.I. Joes, I would recommend getting one of these kits. You can get them on Bezosville. So, you take her apart there a little bit, and yeah, it's comparatively, it's kind of a thick O-ring they've got going on in there. I think it was probably the previous owner probably replaced it. That's how they knew it was a really good O-ring. But yeah, you take a look at those comparatively, and it's a little bit large for our nefarious purposes. So we're going to pull that out of there. Pop that back in there. Put that back in there. See, we got a little bit of a busted peg there, which happens. It happens. I'm going to make sure we get the arms in the right place. Well, actually, what we want to do first, because we're not very smart, is to figure out what the hell we did with the hips. There we go. Pop that in there. Thread that through. This is probably very familiar for people that do this, that collect Joes and do this quite a bit. Now we're cooking with gas. There we go. Put her arms back into place and her head back into place. That's gonna give me grief because it can. Put the head back in place. And we missed. There we go. There we go. And we pop that tiny screw back into the back there. We crank it down. And there we go. Now she fits a little bit better. Still a new O-ring. All in all, a good figure. I'll have to see about picking up her brother at some point. Again, I'm very eclectic with the way I collect Joes. I don't really collect them, but I've got some nostalgia for some of the older ones, some of the ones from my childhood. So, you know, I have to pick up some of those. But there she is, Zarana. Pretty good shape. New O-ring. Sehr gut.